and diving into the topic and using it real time, seeing it not as a necessary evil or something, in the games industry, for instance, but as a very, very good friend, which can be extremely helpful and which can enable you to do things which wouldn't be possible without real time. So first, before I dive into the topic, some words about me. So my name is Thomas Mann. At the demo scene, I'm also known as Pixtur of XC still. Despite my degree in architectural design, I'm working since 10 years or so as a freelance artist and programmer in Berlin. And I spend most of my spare time in the demo scene. There I'm responsible for the direction and design of most PC productions of the groups like SSE, AutoNation, and still. So, then I forgot to hand out my papers. So, I'm really uncertain about the level of complexity when dealing with here. So, if I'm going too fast, scream slow down. If I'm going too slow, it's just scream skip. My talk will be structured into 3 points. First one, I will give a short explanation about why I do demos, or the members of STILL do demos. So everybody has his own explanation for this curiosity, but I will give our reason. Then I will show what exactly I'm talking about, and for this I will use 3 of my recent productions. And for each production, I will start our content creation tool and pick up one scene or one effect and show how it was made inside tool. And at the end, I hope there will be some time, or actually, I will hope that there are some questions. Okay, so why we do demos? So the shortest description what a demo scene is, for me, is this one. So demo scene is all about competing in code, music, and design. So the answer to the question why we do this stuff is basically teamwork. So you have different people coming together in a team for a project with completely different talents and intentions. So we have first the programmers, which love to program, and which love to do 3D stuff, and they see their effects and their code presented in a way which exceeds professional level by far. So they get for free a demo reel, which they can probably show off to get new work and stuff, but they see involved, they see their code evolving. Then they have the musicians, which get the possibility to dive into the topic and work with the team and basically get a music clip for free and seeing their music interpreted by other artists. And then there's design, which is my part. And for me, doing demos is actually a little bit it's really like heaven. So it's like paradise. Because, hey, you get this amazingly fucking cool music, and you get those amazing programmers together, and they all come and help you to build up your ideas and your creative moments and your visions. And it's imagine that you are an artist, and then there's actually no reason to complain about Photoshop, because they're programming you precisely your Photoshop just the way you want it. And actually, that's the reason why I'm in the demo scene, and that's the reason why I love it. It's actually not really because of winning competitions or something, but it's really just because getting this, seeing people of the team coming together and building something, and seeing it being much, much more than compliments. And of course, it's really nice to have a path behind you of all the recent productions. Some you are ashamed of, and some you are proud of. But still, you see, you can look backwards and see all the releases in Steepman and Ordner, what I have developed. That's my part. So I will start with what I did recently. Raga, you're there? I want to start with.
Yeah.
So Granite was our second production with the content creation suite we are developing in our spare time. It was developed by Dani Szymanski, Cynic, by Matt, and Kurt. So the music for this production was done by Ronnie Lewis, an excellent musician who was did the music for Debris. So I always try to change the musicians because it's always nice to work with new people. And I did the design. You ready?
In a few seconds.
As long as the demo text are to start, I can explain a little bit about what you are about to see. Most of this demo was done, let's say, in 5 days, because like Ronnie Lewis took his time to finish the music, and basically I got it as a Christmas present on the 22nd of December, and the intended party was, like the competition was on the 28th of December. So it was basically a party production. And luckily we found this, we discovered this effect of feedback bubbles, which means like inducing some content into the buffer and modifying this buffer in this next frame using the explaining what is here. So I picked out this feedback buffer effect, so which produces all the images you see here. Basically, I don't actually. I'm really I'm pretty experienced with After Effects and other post-production tools, but I wouldn't know how to do this with After Effects because the idea behind the whole effect is like having some content created, for instance, by this release scene, and then using a little bit of this content into this feedback buffer. But the major part of the feedback buffer is like comes out of the feedback buffer again, and with a slight distortion, and like for instance, we added edge detection to this one, and all three parts together found the final composition. So it sounds a little bit complicated. I think it is a little bit complicated, and it's really hard to get under control. But then you get images I would never have been thought of, if it would be possible in this way. So I will switch to tool, which basically is started as a clone of Werkzeug. There was yesterday's very cool presentation of chaos at the Farbausch. And basically, our tool wouldn't have been possible without the release of Werkzeug, so very really that you decided to release the stuff. So we cloned a little bit of Werkzeug. Like the obvious parts are the operator stacking and the reward generation of measures and speeds and stuff. But our focus was not really about like small size content generation, like it was useful in Pre, but more about editing and zooming, because that's what I like. It's not, it's definitely made for 64K, but actually I as an artist do not care if it's 64K or in AVI. What I do care is like having a nice animation and being able to create this animation with real time. That's the reason I do gamers and I love real time, because it helps me to create new big images. So the top is just cut away, which is to pay your attention to the name, which is a tool, which is like a nice combination because we have our double letter, LL, we even have it in our group name, and of course the L comes after K. And additionally, it's a little fun because toll is a German word for oh, great. So basically, we spent, let's say, 3 years now working on this tool, just on this tool, and slowly, after like the 6th production, slowly it seems to pay off. That's an incredible amount of money, of time, and but yeah, slowly it pays off, and it enables me to concentrate on what I like, thinking and tuning effects. So basically, that's our game all the time. So you see this pretty going quite apart in the beginning, and then we have final scenes. And I wanted to pick out this feedback scene. Just right here. I will explain a little bit more about how we set up our render pipeline when it comes to next production. So, what I wanted to start with is so see that this is the effect of the transition between one scene and the next scene, which basically like we have this feedback buffer and we induce we extract some color information from one scene and then slowly fade out the amount of information we take out the scenes by like color key and then slowly start to reduce information of the next scene into this feedback buffer. So the nice thing about this is that there's unlimited possibility to play with this effect. So, for instance, I could like this is the central ring. It's like it's extracted the color, and then the color is blurred. So you can of course adjust in real time the sharpness, the intensity of the color. Then you can of course adjust the color itself. So you can maybe turn it more red. Use some seconds to explain a very nice post-render effect I use all the time, which basically we call channel mixer, which sums up the colors of the incoming texture by rescaling each color in the matrix. So basically, you have through the Z-order option, you have like a neutral. I think it's called identity matrix, so like a Chromium, so you have like 1 on 1 in the diagonal and 0 in the other channels. So it's basically giving you the original image. So if you would like want to have it monochrome, you would just use like, for instance, the red channel to mix all the RGB channels. And so you could like, increase the contrast by this, multiplying more, and it's once you get used to this type of post-render, it's highly valuable color grading to use all the time. So then for instance we can tune the overall color of the effect. We can go back, for instance. We can change, for instance, the parameters of the first you can see the we could also adjust the parameters for the displacement function, which distorts the feedback buffer, which gives very, very interesting effects. So when you really reduce the displacement, you see like the creation of very weird forms. So I have no idea how you could come up with something in After Effects or so, but with real time, it's no problem. And even if you like remove displacement even further, you see that the color accumulates to recreate some kind of fractal artifacts, which I don't know be noisy demo, but yeah. So you could also just for instance the amount of noisiness in the display. Actually, for me, like tuning this effect was one of the major reasons why I, as an artist, love tools, because there would have been no way without sliders to tune this effect and get some decent results out of it. So, okay, next production. The second production I want to talk a little bit about was Evoke. It was an invitation to this year's Evoke in Cologne. And it is a 64K disco, so I think all of you know what 64K is. It's extremely difficult, maybe not as difficult as a 4K, but it's pretty difficult to create a decent 64K. And we made a second place at Breakpoint, which is actually a good thing. So otherwise we only would have made first places anyway. And it was a collaboration with Conspiracy, and the music was done by Gage, which should now start anyway. So before I pick out one scene, let's go a little bit about how we set up our render pipeline and how we tweak tune animation in Tool, I will show some sketches to describe the process I go through when designing a demo. The prepared progress, let's say, put it this way, because for instance at Fairlight it was a party production, there was no collaboration at all. But normally I start with doing sketches in Photoshop. So I use my Wacom Tableau and really do scribbles and try to figure out forms and designs, patterns I find interesting and probably potential to be animated. So I came up with those two sketches, and actually that's the initial spark for the project. So I go to programmers and say, well, I want to do something with high contrast and animated forms and a little bit of typography, and what do we need for this? So I think about like what operators which has to be out of the tool, and then I go to find a musician, which in this case was Gaga, and try to briefly, I want to do something with, you have solid forms in the beginning, and then you start to deconstruct them, you have intersections, and like from straight, in white contrast, there comes those forms and shapes which break off and form something new. So I normally then try to do really rough sketches in Photoshop and on paper. And actually those sketches are most of the time so rough that I need to put labels on it, so I can't remember what I was actually thinking when I did the sketch. But this helps me when using Tool not to be lost in overwhelming possibilities of the parameters and operators taking. So basically, I sit somewhere in a pub or so with my iPod, listening to music of Gaga and doing sketches and really rough patterns, which are not really intended to be redesigned or like rebuilt in Tool, but basically which are like more an inspiration for something there and having no idea. I can go through my sketchbook and pick out how this certain pattern might fit here for the design. So then if I like for instance with Gaga, I had like some focus fitting the music, which finally came, and so it really took me a while to find a way to link between the glitches and the very rough beginning and the very melodic start of the music. So finally I came up with this rhythm thing and the rhythms and the readings and then merging into this and meeting and evoke something. So this is what what generation of content looks like. It looks like yesterday I heard this like looking into the matrix and seeing something with a woman. So basically, if you wrote this and stack all operators, it's like perfectly fine. So it's not really some once in a while took a while to find a certain operator, but then if you think that this is everything required to build a whole 64K, it's actually not that much. So those are all the scenes, all the post-render effects, all the pipeline setups, even all the like quality adjustment for like dialogue. You can choose the render target set and stuff. So then, like I can ask the same question as the sport guys yesterday: should I be more technical or less technical? More? Okay, more. So it can get a little bit complicated, but not that complicated because I'm only proficient. So what we do basically is like we set up render states on each frame. So our timeline is not really like a classical traditional timeline after fixed, for instance, on Avid, but we really set OpenGL render states, which means that, for instance, let's take an easier one. Like here, we have our attribute. So I should start by, we are stacking from the bottom to the top because that's the right way to do it. So we start at the bottom, and so we set up a render target and say, okay, we are now, everything which follows is now rendered into texture by size 24 by 1024, 1024. Then we say, okay, what's being rendered is a scene. So we traverse the scene, and the scene is like having camera, like set buffer, Z buffer, and like draw styles. So we want to do four-sided, and then we have some planes, and so and like becomes like all the definition for the texture stuff and so on. Then we say, okay, now it's about like we use the next render buffer. So fx1, which is again a texture of 1024, 1024, and render something completely different. Like maybe render use the output of the first pass and do some distortions and stuff, and then use, for instance, now we are rendering like the first buffer text1. With some displacement, some edge detection, place it on top of the second render target. Finally, eventually, we switch to the completed render target and draw the final composition. This procedure might be a little bit overdone, but it's extremely flexible. So you have all the control you want, but you also have all the tasks you need. For instance, if you do not clear the render target, it's not clear. If you do not render 100% opacity into the render target, you have this kind of fake motion blur things like accumulating into this buffer. So I will pick up through this text while because he has to test to recompute all the textures. So pick up this scene, and basically we build it from scratch, just to show a little bit how the post-render pipeline works. So it's not the most beautiful scene of the intro, but all other scenes are too overly complex. They involve like particle stuff, and it's a little bit too much for the session. But so I just have to start with new scene, and then we basically said, okay, we want to use like render to screen, just render target. Target. Render target set to screen, is related to our timeline. And we say, okay, we want to render our own scene. So that's what it looks like. So then I was always talking about animation, so REST animation font. So you see the tree, we have the bone scene, which is like normally render. Then we have the camera, frog, like all the different operators in the tree. And you see this little orange box here, which means this operator has animated values. So if it's selected, somewhere over here we should see some keyframes. Okay, there we are. And so we can now slide through the time and adjust the time. Play. I think there should be music. Can you turn it down a little bit? So what I can now do is I can of course like clone keyframes, delete keyframes and all this stuff. I will like start with a simpler animation. So because like there's always, I don't know, there seems always to be a question how to do camera paths and demos and intros. So actually I learned only one method, and I learned this from Maya. It's basically moving a camera, setting a keyframe, moving a camera, setting a keyframe. And somehow, for me, it always worked. So, I still have the camera selected. I will open so I play, of course, nothing happens because it's not animated, but I can say, okay, position is animated, the target position is animated. So we see now keyframe here, and see here that it's animated because of the checkboxes. Some of you might know this from After Effects. So say, okay, camera should definitely move back. Okay, some keyframes. Okay, this looks interesting.
Behind you, clean, right?
Okay, this looks interesting. Now we can play this backward, forward, forward. So we have to change the relations to the So, what we can do now is, obviously, the first animation cuts in geometry, so we can scale animation, go through the beginning of our scene and like adjust. Okay, that's all for animation. And play. So then there seems to be this special effect. So maybe if I want to cut an edit at this precisely this point, we came up with a solution that okay, we have like a local time, the global time of this keyframe, but we can override the timing of animations by adding those animations to the timeline. So we'll just okay. So I mentioned in the beginning of my talk that like having your own tool could be paradise. So for instance, one of the feature requests I had was like actually it's once in a while it's hard to tell where certain events in the time are. So I asked for the feature, okay, can you play back like slower speed? And they said, okay. And then 5 minutes later, they said, yeah, it's done. So I could play it at low speed. So the effect seems to be so it seems to be in. And I can add the camera animation to the scene. Time. Let's say I want to speed animation up, but from a distance start point, so I can put it in here. So working, I don't know why. Sorry. Normally it's supposed to work this way, so it should override the animation. Interesting. Okay, I got promise about this. So what we can do then is I understand the question fully, because so we are evaluating from the bottom to the top. So the key frame for the camera has been set, but above the camera, this camera, we add the camera again and set the 3, which comes in here. So okay, go over, like to go away. So what I want to do now is like to show some short introduction or post-runner pipeline works. So we have this runner target, which is right now on the screen. So what we can do now is like to say, okay, we are ready to screen, but not right now. We will render to it later. So we move it to the top. You can say, okay, but first I want to run into a texture. So, okay, this runner target is actually the texture. And first I want to render my scene into a texture. And then I will render this texture on the screen. So it still looks the same. Now, I have the possibility to, for instance, the reason why the animation override didn't work was because this was the timeline render view, which means the composition view, but it was the camera view. So now what we see is like the final composition, which means like screen. So we have like the texture view. And what we can do right now is, for instance, we have this layer 3D and of course multiply color to it, which is like basically comes for free. You can use the same render target, the same texture, and render maybe the top and the color. And if you scope here blend body, for instance, or change the scale, move the world somewhere, stuff like this. So you see, we're not cleaning the screen, so I mentioned it in the beginning. So we have to take care of this. Set the screen stuff correctly. We could also do stuff like, okay, we want to, for instance, displays. And then you can displace it, of course. Or we could use like additional stuff like dashes. So it might give you a rough idea that, like, if you have some time and a project like this, like for an artist, this is like paradise because you have everything under control, everything in detail can be tweaked and of course synced. So now or like camera quite works, so we could do something. Okay, I want this displacement to be very big when it comes to this zoom stuff. So I say, okay, so this one is animated, and just after it comes to this distortion music effect, this place is somewhere. After the distortion is over, I want to be just as normal. And the nice thing about this animation trick, which I tried to show you some minutes ago, was okay, you could override this animation again. So I could say, maybe at another point, I want to have a different distortion. So I can add basically the animation of the displacement to the scene. So, and say, okay, I want to reuse it here again. Maybe just a fraction of it. And so, okay, this is a little bit of music. So if we clone this and like a lot of glitches, for instance, this is very, very, very effective way to tune and tweak it. So okay, I got 10 minutes left, and I want to show you our latest production, Seeker, and talk a little bit about not really technical details on this stuff, but more about how we develop the design idea and concept. So I will go back to my slides. So Seeker accidentally won the Intel competition 2008, which we are a little bit, so it's not that we are winning something, but actually it was to deserve because the first prize just got the internet. But anyway, Nadia, are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, then this is it. So the idea for Zika was actually really old. I think like 2 years ago. So I waited a long time for Stable to do it, to find the right music and the right effects, really the amount of time, because it was actually the first time I really had an idea and I wanted to show the idea, and actually I didn't care about it's real time, it's a demo, not 64K. So actually, like the complete content of this stuff, like we compiled this together with the team of Gaga to check the size, and it comes up to 67 kilobytes. So it's basically, we could have optimized it a little bit, we could have turned it into 64K, but actually it's all about the music, and so we didn't care. So, and I started this project by finally doing some sketches in Photoshop about the mood I wanted to say, like it's underwater world and it's really darkening and frightening, and like there's light form and it wants to go and find its way and stuff. And so I did this really quick sketches in Photoshop again to talk to the cue, the musician, and describe him the mood I want to have. And there was also this idea of like the white form coming out of the dark, and then finally finding a dark form coming out of the white. So and then intermixing, and then there are colors and liquids and stuff. And so I roughly made a sketch about like how the demo should look like, should be structured. It's like it looks really rough, but it helps a lot, really helps a lot. And then I did a small storyboard for this. And it was also the first time I tried to use a little animatronic to get an idea about the general design. So what I did basically here was to do some sketches and scribbles in Photoshop to get a rough idea about the color and the motion and the transition in the beginning. So just to get me started before building up size and concrete content. So basically this is just images in Photoshop being animated slightly and blended. But really helped a lot to like talk to the programmers. I need this type of lighting and this type of particle effect, and to have some kind of idea. And that's at this moment when it's starting. It was really helpful and really cool. Very cool also. And what we started then was basically and we then started to basically replace all those dummy content with real content. So what we then did was like having this idea of like there should be this spline, there should be additional content around the spline and evolving and catching it and stuff. And so I'm really happy with the development of this production, because it was really that you sat down together with your programmers and they were really listening to you. Like there was and then it should be form and twiddling, and then it should be like flickering with the size to the sound, and then there should be a fluid transition into this crystallized clear form. And I don't know how to do it, but maybe you. And then we started discussing. Did a lot of sketches like how it might look, and so basically those are all like working sketches, like artists together with programs. It should be fast, but very often it's perfectly enough so you roughly understand what they are talking about. And so we try to find some formulas for the stuff and how to blend the splines and yeah, then I'm really happy how the general concept and the general design of this demo turned out. It was a little bit sad that it was done for the demo competition. I think it was a little bit not really wasted. But if it would have been for any other demo competition, I would have delayed it, definitely, and spent another 2 months or so tweaking it and using all the potential which goes in this music and in this concept. So all the music and the potential, the concept is wasted. And I don't know about making finance. So, yeah, some screenshots, that's basically it. Do you have any questions? So that's the stuff. But as far as I know, we have single objects, like for instance, we have these camera objects which we define in a workspace, and we only keep references to this single object in the timeline. So which means that if you select it in the timeline, for instance, modify the keys, you modify the keys of all the other instances of this object in the timeline, which sometimes is a little bit confusing, but sometimes it's just what you want. And so we had a long discussion about it at the beginning, and actually my point was I don't care. I can't judge right now how it will feel like. And so we just implemented this way, and it turned out to be okay. So.
And why are you not reading events from the music?
You mean why we are not doing FFT or something?
Well, FFT would be super expensive, but having
No.
like a MIDI notation or
Actually,
is some XML that you're using, because these people are very proficient, they could give you some extra information you could use for it.
What we do right now is essentially, das war investments. What you see here are like the white lines, and those are basically the patterns. And so we have like chaos of hardware, we are fighting for each pixel. So we have those 2 pixels line at the bottom. That's basically the beat pattern of the music. So there's like when moving things in the timeline, it snaps to the beat pattern, and this helps a lot. We are actually I got really confident really using the sound information would help a lot. I like to really just play it in slow motion, listen to it, and then do to what I hear. So it's like sometimes it's a pain in the ass, but sometimes it keeps me into the flow. And we are actually implemented FFT right now. So a month ago, actually we wanted to do with this one production for VC, but there wasn't enough time. And I'm really looking forward in my spare time in September to do a production which is basically just based on FFT. Even like the editing and the selection of the camera and stuff. So really experimenting with procedural content generation or edit generation. And I just wanted to play over it. So I don't think it's expensive. So we are already doing it, and it's already added into the engine. But let's see if we can do it.
What's with the funny symbols before the names, like and dash dash greater than and hash? Is it a convention or is it a part of the language?
No, basically it's a convention for me. So we have like real names, like you can see that. You can see it now maybe. Like if I select an operator, this is the real name of the operator, which is layer 2D. And you can rename each operator if you click here and create layer 2D. So it's called layer 2D. So most of the time, I as an artist rename the stuff, and to different operator types. I first thought about like drawing some icons and stuff. I'm pretty fast with this, but actually just using characters is like turned out to be okay. So like commercial A is there to be, and like a hash sign with like a mesh or something. So it's just my convention. I try to enforce it to the other artists, but it doesn't work out.
The displacement of seems to be very important for doing this fairness style effects. Can you show a little bit of the displacement which is going on and the parameterization of that?
Actually, it's quite simple. So normally the displacement is like you have two strings, like Y and Z, and either use the same color channel for this, or use an RGB channel for like one of the axes. And we decided that it would be better to use like not like a direction along the axis, but more like an intensity which comes off one channel, and then the direction which is like more an angle. So the second, like if it's 0, it goes straight up. If it's like 128, it goes straight down. And so if you animate this, it gives a very strange displacement effect. So it's really expensive, so that's why fairness is so slow. Because I know the silent stuff is really different. It's not the fastest, but well, you couldn't do it other ways. I think maybe better tables. This is okay.
Yeah, not so much a question, but well, I watched your presentation, and I must say that I was quite critical of the Seeker, but seeing on the big screen, I think I get it now. It's a really, really nice demo. And that made me realize something that yesterday when we talked, you told me that I wish I had all these ambient occlusion effects and all these surface catering tricks that they use. I think that your group has a very unique style in that they make beautiful demonstrations with a minimal set of tools. Because if you really break it down, it's all particles and splines. And I think maybe if you finally get these tools, it might spoil it a bit, and then you will have to make a generic cubes which look really good with the ambient occlusion. We saw yesterday all of the demos featured cubes more or less. So I don't know. I would say maybe it's a good idea to just finish what you have to say with those kinds of tools first, and then maybe try something else if that's your thing. But the one thing that looking at your drawings, I would say is that, for example, the Seeker would have been even better than for better 3D modeling. So maybe you may look into working with a 3D modeler to incorporate that into.
Well,
it's not a question.
I'm distracted a little bit. I'm uncertain. Once in a while, like we talked about Chimera, for instance, and the more effects the demo incorporated, the faster it gets older and like wasted and forgotten. For instance, if you use like all those particle stuff and relief mapping and shadow stuff, and basically show cubes. So all those effects will look all in 2 years or so, maybe 3 or 5 years, but they will look very fast. And so basically, then it will be just about like very, very nice looking cubes, but basically cubes. And then they will not even be nice looking because technology evolved a lot. So Chimera, for instance, they basically use nothing. They use pure OGL for texture stuff and just a little bit of fog. And it's still looking at Chimera next to goosebumps. So like not using any technology available might be a good thing. But on the other hand, they talk about like teamwork and like the hottest talents and different people. And of course, like the coders got all the fancy stuff. They want to show like that they can program pixel shaders and particles it should always be a mixture. And then of course I think, yeah, Secret could have been much better with like more detail. About like the content generation, so maybe it doesn't show, but I worked as a modeler for 6 years, so I'm really confined when it comes to 3D content generation. Like, it was my job, and I'm really fast at this. And actually, I don't care. I don't want to do this with videos because it was my job. So if it's like, if it only takes a plane to show it's a fish, that's okay for me. So it should still look nice and stuff, but I don't know, I'm not really, I'm impressed when lots of words and stuff. I really like amazing. But for my part, I don't want to do this in my spare time.
Maybe you should try to do a 2D demo one day. Maybe you should try to do a 2D demo one day. It would be good fun.
Invo was intended to be purely 2D, but just didn't work out. And I have now, like, I already have plans for the next engineering competition with the soundtrack of Peters, so I guess this time I will not do it. Any more questions?
Anyone else? Okay, thank you Thomas for your presentation.